Hi everyone, this is Anthony and I'm going to show you how to make country braised chicken. This is the first meal in 3 different meals I'm preparing today, and one of the first ingredients you're going to need for the country braised chicken is flour. So what I've done is I've already done the mise en place, which is the French term meaning prepared everything, be it the ingredients, the equipment that you need, everything is already prepared. So we can just enjoy the cooking. I'm just going to basically run through the ingredients right now. And everything was cut down for the serving size. The serving size is for 8 people and it's 2 pieces of chicken a piece. I cut it down where it's for 3 people. So all the sizes are reduced to 3 people instead, since I'm making it today for the family. The first ingredient that I'm going to be using is flour, and it was cut down accordingly. The next ingredient that I'm using is the salt, black pepper, paprika, cayenne pepper, and curry powder, and the garlic, which is all found in this bowl. The next ingredient that I have, and the most important, would be the chicken. Without the chicken, there'd be no country braised chicken. The next ingredient would be the butter. I have that cut already and prepared. The next one is going to be the vegetable oil, just a little bit of a dash, vegetable oil. Then we have the tomatoes already prepared. Then the onions that are already cut and prepared. The technique I use for cutting these onions is I julienne them, just sliced the onions, and same with the green peppers. Recipe called for about 4 peppers, but I cut it down to 1 because of the amount of people. So this is a green pepper, a single one, just julienned. And the next ingredient would be chicken broth. It says use as needed, so I just have the whole container here, and as we move on to the cooking process, I'll use it as needed. Then the next ingredient is the almonds, which are also already cut, and they're cut into thin slices. Some of the equipment that we're using today is cutting boards, which you see here, and the Pyrex glass container to put it in the oven later on in the cooking process. The pan, the measuring spoons, we have some utensils, another cutting board, a rubber spatula, and some knives. Another thing is the serving size. As I originally said, it was a serving size of 8, but I cut it down accordingly. If I were to prepare this for 100 people, I would have to multiply it then by 12.5. So each one of these ingredients, not these specific ingredients since they've already been reduced, but ingredients from the original recipe serving size would have to be multiplied by 12.5 in order to serve 100 people. Now, that would be the special considerations that I would need in order to do that. And let's move on over to the cooking process. Welcome back. We have the butter and oil here, and we're going to just toss it right in the pan, let it simmer, let it start cooking, and then we're going to grab the salt, black pepper, cayenne pepper, and paprika, and flour, and combine it all into one bowl. Now from here, we're going to just whisk it together slightly, make sure it's all together. And then from here, we're going to then braise the chicken, coat each side, get the chicken all braised. So as we're braising the chicken, we're then going to flip it after they're all cooked fairly evenly. And then we're going to move on to the next process for cooking. As you will see, once all the chicken is braised, from the mixture of salt, black pepper, cayenne pepper, paprika, and flour. And each one of these ingredients can be found and in the textbook, but they've all been reduced to meet with the sizes that you're supposed to have for 3 people instead of the serving size of 8. And this is the final one. And then once they're all braised, we'll move on to the next process. Now we're going to prepare the tomato concasse. We're going to need onions right in there. Then we're going to take the curry powder and the garlic and the mace and just dabble it on there. And then after that, we're going to put in the the green peppers right in there. Let them all stir fry. And then we're tossing in the tomatoes. The country braised chicken sitting on the bed of vegetables. We're going to put it in the oven for 25 minutes and see how it comes out. It just rang, and here is the final shot of the country braised chicken. The chicken is complete, and we are now moving on to the onions. See you soon. Welcome back, and now we're going to make the second of the 3 meals, which is the classic rice pilaf. We're going to reduce the amount once again and start with, instead of making 3 pounds of rice, we're going to make a half a pound, which is a cup for 3 people, because that's what I'm making it for. The serving sizes can be found on page 1113 of the textbooks with the conversion table. So 3 people is a cup, 1 cup is 8 ounces, 2 cups is 16 ounces, which is a pound. So then 3 pounds would serve 18 people. And then to convert it to 100 people, which is also what we have to do, we're going to have to multiply that with the conversion factor of 5.56, so it can serve for 100 people. Now, right now we're only serving for 3 people, so these are the materials for such. We have 1/8 of an ounce of butter, clarified. We have 1/8 of an ounce of olive oil. We have some onions diced. That's the technique I use to cut these onions like this. And then we have 1 bay leaf. We have a cup of rice. And we have about a half a cup of chicken stock. The equipment that we also need to complete this mise en place is a pot and a wooden spoon to really stir it in there, and of course the oven, which I can't carry the oven and show it in front of the camera, but it's there, and that would be about it. We're going to move on over to the cooking process, and I'll see you guys soon. Welcome back, and now we're moving on to the cooking process for the classic rice pilaf. We're going to put the butter in here, and then we're also going to accompany it with the oil. After the oil, we're going to put in the bay leaf, and we're going to toss in the onions. And that is the first part of the cooking process. See you soon. Welcome back. We're moving on to the second part of the cooking process for the classic rice pilaf. What we're going to do is now add the rice. And the cup of rice has been added. after that, we're going to put in the boiling stock. And we're going to see you soon to see what the final product looks like. And I just pulled this out of the oven. This is the classic rice pilaf. And it's all ready. That is the final shot of the classic rice pilaf. Now we're off to the third and final meal. I'll see you guys soon. Welcome back, and now we are on to the third and final of the cooked meals in this cooking video. Right now we're doing the glazed pearl onions, or in this case, Philippine onions. Each one of these ingredients has been reduced in half from a serving size of 8 to a serving size of 4. So all these ingredients will show fittingly. Then the next ingredient is the butter, and the next ingredient is the sugar. From there, we are also using a wooden spoon, and we are also using a pan to cook this. That's all the ingredients. The technique that was used was we boiled these onions for about 2 minutes, and then we gave them a cold bath to stop the cooking process. Then we made sure the rest of the onions were completely peeled off, so we didn't have to sit there and peel them all individually. It's a quick way to peel all the onions, and that was one of the techniques that were used. If we were to increase this to 100 people from the serving size of 8, it would be a conversion factor of multiplied by 12.5, similar to the chicken. So from the original textbook size, to get it to 100 people eating, it would be 12.5 as the multiplier. And now to the cooking process. Now here we are at the cooking process. I've already put the Philippine onions in here, the butter and the sugar, and I added a little bit of water. I'm going to add some more water in here. We're going to stir these around, and I'm going to see you at the final product. This is the final shot of the onions. The pearl onions are all done. They look pretty good, and I'm going to give you my final take on all 3 meals, on how they all turned out after I finish eating them. See you then. Here is the final shot of the finished meal. Looks pretty good. Hope it tastes as good as it looks. Now the meal has been consumed, and now we're going to the what we would change of the meal, of any substitutions, additions, modifications, things like that. For me, the chicken, I would have taken out the cayenne pepper. A little bit too spicy. The salt I would have probably completely removed. It was a little bit too salty. I'd say maybe add more vegetables. It was on a bed of vegetables, but maybe add more things like carrots or squash or zucchini, something to give it a little bit more substance where it's not just the chicken. The thing that I would have corrected for the rice is the rice came out a little bit dry, but not too bad. It wasn't, none of these things were bad. I think they were all very enjoyable. I would just probably add maybe a cup more of the chicken stock, give it a little bit more moisture and flavor, so everything would be pretty good. And then lastly, as far as the onions, previously in an earlier blog, a few blogs ago, I did a maple glazed carrots, and instead of the sugar for the onions, I probably would have changed it to see what maybe maple would taste like, to see if that probably gave it a little bit of a sweeter taste. I thought everything was very enjoyable. I'm happy to have presented this cooking video for you all. I hope you all enjoy it, and I'll see you all later.